Lynn Christensen has given us the thumbs up, and we're good to go.
Ready? Good evening. After a long, long day, we have the... Good evening, folks. And to all 12,876 people who chose to exercise their right to vote, thank you for coming out. That's a record for Merrimack. Of those, roughly 1,000 were absentee ballots. And we had about 900 people register to vote today. All good numbers. Now for the details. Governor Sherman, 4875. Sununu, 7740. Helderson, 87. Boysenko, 39. Hassan, 6749. Bolduc, 5852. Kaufman, 203. Pappas, 6847. Levitt, 5879. Kelly, 5989. Wheeler, 6447. Shanley, 6180. Daniels, 6359. Pay attention, Merrimack. Here are your new guys for the state reps. Stack, 5545. Thomas, 5843. LaRue, 5341. Locke, 5522. Manning, 5262. Murphy, 6131. Plant, 5258. Rung, 6245. Rosemary was the top vote getter. Mooney, 6037. Nodder, 5860. Blasek, 5635. Boyd, 5839. Barbara Healy, 5625. Bob Healy, 5710. Mayville, 5456. Magoo, 5828. Page 2. Sheriff. Well, he didn't have any competition. 58565. Sarwick for county attorney, 5424. Why don't I have Coughlin listed? What do you got Coughlin on? 6463. Coughlin. Manzo, 5385. Fredette, 6451. Crowell, 5946. Hogan, 6246. Brick, doesn't look like it's going to matter anyway, but 5646. Graham, 6246. Julie, 5759. Robert, 6220. Question 1. Overwhelmingly approved, 6881 to 4003. And question 2 blew out of the water with 3860 and 7620. Nobody liked that one. That's your totals, guys. Thank you for coming out and voting.
And that was Lynn Christensen, our town moderator, reading the results. And in just a moment, Lynn's going to make her way down here. And we're going to talk to Lynn about those results as well. And so just stay tuned. Lynn's going to make her way down here. Should probably be like right about. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Nicholas LaValle, the Town of Merrimack's Media Services Coordinator. This is Merrimack TV Election Night Live. You just watched Lynn Christensen, the town moderator, read the results of the Merrimack's results of the midterm election, and here she is. our town moderator, Lynn Christensen. Lynn, how's it going?
We made it.
You've had a busy day?
It's been a busy day. We started early. We had a lot of people show up. Pretty much a steady flow all day long. Of course, there were long lines before we opened because people got here early, and in fact, in one of the polls, we opened early so that we could get the lines going. But yeah, a lot of people.
A lot of people.
This is a record turnout. Last November election was a presidential election. We had about 11,500. We had almost 13,000 this time in a midterm.
So Merrimack had more voters
In the midterm.
in the midterm.
Than we had in the presidential election.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
that's something. That's not something I necessarily expected to
Nope.
see.
Well, Dave Scanlon, the Secretary of State, was anticipating a 67% turnout, 2/3. We've got 18,000 on our checklist.
Okay.
Or to start, we had.
Okay.
And we had 12,000 plus. That's 2/3. He was right on the money, like he always is.
So I know that our assistant media services coordinator Justin Slez is back at the Town Hall TV studio, and he, the race that we're most interested in
Yep.
being local media
Yep.
and are the state rep seats. Can you tell us who our 8 state representatives are?
Sure.
You already know them, top of your head?
Yep.
Okay. Who are those? Who are Merrimack's state
You
representatives?
had 3 Democrats that were elected:
Okay.
Rung, Murphy, and Thomas. You had 5 Republicans elected: Mooney, Notter, Boyd, Bob Healy, and Tim Magoo.
Okay. So
That's
the
pretty unusual for Merrimack.
the 8 state reps,
Yep.
3 Democrats,
5 Republicans,
5 Republicans, 3 Democrats: Rosemarie Rung, Nancy Murphy,
and
Wendy
Wendy
Thomas.
Thomas.
and 5 Republican state reps.
Yep.
Could you read those to me?
Maureen Mooney,
Okay.
Janine Notter, Bill Boyd, Bob Healy,
And
Tim Magoo.
Okay, great. Lynn, can I ask you a couple questions?
You can ask. Remember, it's getting late, so I'm going to get
Right.
a little goofy.
We're going to ask you just a couple questions. The turnout, you already talked about the
Yep.
turnout today.
Yep.
There was more voters in Merrimack at today's midterm than there were at the last presidential election in
That's
2020.
correct.
That's impressive for voter turnout.
Yep.
Fantastic job, Merrimack.
Yep.
Absentee ballots.
About 11. We had, I think, 1,100 were sent out. We got back probably 1,050. There were probably 50 or 60 that we didn't get back.
So pretty close to.
Yep.
Pretty close.
Again,
Okay.
pretty high numbers.
Now Colin and I spent some time here this morning, this afternoon. We've been live since 7 p.m. and obviously, we're always impressed with the amount of people that are helping you and Diane. A lot of our neighbors were volunteering here tonight.
Sure.
What are some of the roles that they got to do, part of the process? What were we watching starting at 7 in the background?
When you start at the top, you got me. I'm the moderator. The buck stops with me. What I say is it. Then I've got at least 3 assistant moderators that work at each of the polling sites because I can't be everywhere at all the time. So I rotate between the various polling sites as I'm needed or just because I do. When I'm not at the polling site, there are 3 others that have my authority, make decisions, make sure things run smoothly. Most of them have been working for me for many years. We've got a few new ones because we've lost some, and so we backfill. When you get beyond that, you get to ballot inspectors. These are people who typically are appointed by the town political parties. They're the ones that sit at the table. They have a checklist in front of them, and they're saying, name, do you have a photo ID? And those are the ballot inspectors.
Mm-hmm.
After the polls close, we have ballot counters. So what you were seeing at 7 o'clock where a lot of those people, they work in teams of 2. They take all of the ballots that have a write-in on them. They record the write-ins. They also take those ballots that, for whatever reason, the machine just could not read. You don't always know why. Sometimes the machine just says, "Yeah, I really don't like this ballot." So
Gotcha.
what we do is we put it in the side pocket. We say, "Don't worry, it will be counted," and we hand count those at the end of the night. We had some of those. We always do.
How many times the machines count the ballots? Now we're hand counting ballots. How many times do we usually count before we get that final number?
Each ballot gets counted once.
Okay.
The machines count every ballot once.
Okay.
If they've counted everything, it goes into one pocket. If it's counted everything, but there's a write-in, it is separated so I can pull those out, and the rest of the ballot has been counted. All we're going to do is have the ballot counters record the write-in vote.
Understood.
And then the ones that the machine could not read, they have to go through and record all of the ballot, all of the candidates, all of the races.
Lynn, everyone wants to pack up, and we're taking up
Don't worry
everyone's
about
everyone's
it.
time.
I'm in charge. I get to stay as long as I want.
I'm just going to ask you one more thing, because I don't know if it was I don't know if it was the primary or the special election. I don't think it was the special election. I don't know. I think it was either the primary or the last town election. You had a very funny line. We were talking about voter turnout, and you just kind of looked at me and said, "Pitiful." Tonight, with the midterm, how would you describe the turnout?
Congratulations, Merrimack. You outdid yourselves. You paid attention. I mean, all of those ads on TV, all of those flyers that some of you read, some of you just dumped in the trash, you paid attention and you said, this is worth getting out regardless of which side you were voting on. And sometimes you had crossovers, but you paid attention. You said, it's important that I go out and I have a say in who's going to represent me at the federal, the state level.
That's great, and something I had said earlier tonight, and I think you'd agree with this. I was reminding our viewers that we have an election every year here in Merrimack. It's in April. Ahead of that's a deliberative session in March.
The town and school district election is every year.
Is every April. So I'm inviting you, the viewer, to attend a deliberative session in March.
Yes.
And
there are 2. There's the school district deliberative session.
Right.
And the town deliberative, and that's when you get to look at what the town council and the school board is proposing to put on the ballot. And those people that come to the deliberative session get to decide whether they go on the ballot or how they go on the ballot, or if they want them changed. They can be changed. Then at the election, you get to vote on all of those warrant articles that you talked about at the deliberative session.
So maybe over the next year we're gonna sit down with Lynn and Diane and once again talk about that process, because I think it's important that Merrimack residents understand that they can participate in the local democratic process. Every year the town and school has a municipal election.
And there are different flavors depending upon which town you're in. Even in Merrimack, if you go to the MVD, they have a deliberative session. They have an election, but theirs is all done the same night.
That's right.
So there's a couple of other flavors, and we've gone through most of them. So we are where we are now with ours.
Well, Lynn, we did it, and we did it before midnight. Congratulations to you, your staff, your team, and everything. We want to pack up. We want to go home.
Me too.
Okay, Lynn, thank you for all that you do.
Well,
and I just want to note that the last person standing in the room, besides our amazing custodian staff here at JMUS, Bill Boyd is here. So he's the last one. Actually, you can see him on the wide shot. Bill, you can wave to the camera right over there. There he is. So Bill's going to help us pack up.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much, Lynn.
And thank you to Merrimack TV. You guys do a phenomenal job with all of your programming, not just elections.
Great. Thanks a lot. And I think we can all agree, go Tomahawks this weekend in Londonderry. Let's beat those Lancers. Good night.